it to you, and you may be offended, but I doubt it. From what you're saying, you are racist, and you believe in white superiority. That white people are a superior race. Would you agree with that?
I will not beat around the bush. Okay, I agree because it's proven that white people can run the country. And it's proof that black people, in most, besides the example which I given you of Biafra and things, they generally can't do that. They haven't got capacity, and you hear it more and more from black people themselves. If you call it superiority, doesn't mean that you have to right to oppress them in any way. And I don't take the not having voting rights oppression.
So you don't think black people should have the right to vote?
They should right to vote in their homelands.
Family, let's talk about this confusion that is going on about the 5 immigrants that have been transported from the US to Eswatini. Whatever deal that was done between Eswatini and the US, God knows why these dangerous criminals were sent to Eswatini. But I don't buy this scam that these people are brought as dangerous criminals to Eswatini. There's something that doesn't make sense. Let us look at the miles from US to Eswatini, just for 5 people transported to Eswatini. What is the mission there? Let's start there. No matter what agreement they had with Eswatini, there's a bigger picture that is playing behind the scenes. Why I am saying this? I mean, you can disagree with me, you can agree with me, you can put your own comment and say whatever you want to say. You will be allowed to comment in this video, because we have to look at things as we see them. My opinion is my opinion, and your opinion is your opinion. And when we put 2 opinions or a million opinions together, we'll come to one conclusion. At some point, we might differ, like in politics. There's always differences that are coming up, and but there's only one goal: to achieve something. I just want to talk about this. I want to start with Cyril Ramaphosa. Cyril Ramaphosa is his last term as an ANC president. That's point number 1. Point number 2, ANC is losing every elections now, and their percentage is going down, and there is no sign of any arrows pointing up that maybe they might come back. So far now, signs are going down. Let's start there. The third thing that I want to touch on, there is DA, Democratic Alliance, which is a biggest enemy of EFF. They don't want to see EFF and MK close to power. They call it a doomsday, if ever it can happen, and the markets will fall. That is the assumption of a DA. Let's go past that. There is one thing that we are not noticing. Before that, what we are not noticing, let me start by Cyril. There was an uprising in Eswatini, whereby the king of Swaziland killed a lot of Swazis, whereby Cyril Ramaphosa ended up going to meet the king of Swaziland. And Jeff Radebe, if I'm not mistaken, he did go and meet with a delegation, including the foreign minister. It was Naledi Pandor. To date, nothing has ever happened. Let's start there. By then, ANC was still in power. They were not sharing any power with anybody, but they were declining. Okay, they have declined now. I want us to make the picture look good. They have declined now. They are in a collusion with DA, PA. They call it a GNU, but it's not a GNU. It's a collusion of DA and ANC. But ANC is still a boss there. They do as they wish. That's fine. Let's forget about that one. So there is this Eswatini, the king of Swaziland, of which is an absolute monarchy, the last absolute monarchy in Africa that is existing. And looking at things of now, as the ANC is losing power, and all arrows are pointing down, Eswatini is a sponsor of ANC because the king wants to keep power so that they cannot do anything. How many times have political parties tried to negotiate with South Africa as ANC has been in power, but they cannot do anything because of the corruption that is going on? You can't do anything with somebody who feeds you. So the king of Swaziland to keep power, not to be disturbed by South Africa, because if South Africa can sanction Eswatini, everything can change at no time. But South Africa is not doing it because ANC was in power. So nothing has happened up to date. Let us pass that now. Let us look at the bigger picture. If ANC continues to go down, the kingdom of Eswatini is worried, the king is worried that whatever happens in South Africa will compromise his powers in Eswatini. As much as ANC is going down, the most stressed person is the king of Eswatini, that he doesn't know what next will happen, if really it happens that there is a serious GNU where there is really power sharing, what will happen? Or if ever the MK or the EFF take power, will the kingdom of Eswatini continue to exist? He is the most worried somebody in Eswatini. Let me say this before I go further. Eswatini is run by a dictator. As we talk of now, there is no medication in the hospitals. Swazis are poor. The only family that is flourishing, living a luxury life, is the family of King Mswati, the dead. Let's again rewind a little bit. We understand that there are 2 MPs who are in jail for asking in parliament, within their rights, that they were asking that a prime minister should be elected, not appointed by the king. For saying that, they committed treason. They are in jail. I don't know how many years they have been sentenced, but I understand they were sentenced life. It's over. Anybody will write in the comment, but it's over 30 years just for saying that. There are 2, and one of them was a businessman who had employed a lot of Swazis. As of today, his business has collapsed. One of them, because there were 3 MPs who brought up that motion in parliament, and one, we understand that he is in England on exile. He was once in South Africa because of political problems, very being close to Swaziland. There was something that was going on. Then he decided to move to the UK. He Sikh al-Salam in UK. If I'm not mistaken, his name is called Mduduzi Makaukaus Melani. Where is South Africa like there? There have been a lot of complaints. They've wrote a lot of letters to the president of South Africa. Nothing has happened. Because that hand feeds the ANC. So now we have this let's go back a little bit. There's this Janusz Walus, who was a Polish immigrant. Now we have prisoners who have come from the US as very dangerous criminals. They are already in the prisons of Eswatini. Me, I know it as Swaziland, but there's a name that has been given by the king called it's Eswatini. So Janusz Walus killed Chris Hani. He assassinated him because of complications of political. When power is shifting to somewhere, a lot of things happen. And now that the king, he even lose weight because he can feel that, because I've seen his picture somewhere. He has lost a lot of weight. When stress hits, it hits where it's hit so hard, where it hurts most. So, looking at all these kind of things, putting everything together, knowing the king of Swaziland's cruelty, how much cruel that guy is, we will think that these prisoners are there to serve a sentence in Eswatini, a poorest country with no facilities. There's no medications. There's complaint left, right, center. No wage increment. We have seen this in news. Everything has been going on in news. So now, I remember of one journalist who left Swaziland. He's in exile in South Africa, but I can't remember. I saw that guy he was in CNN. No, he was in SABC. One of these days, he was talking about the same thing, that he was still going to be investigating to see as to who was paid for these people to come there. Okay, we understand that, again, they are Boers who have been reported to Cyril, and the IDs have been given to South African president or whoever in the police force, those top brass have been told that they were even given names. The people who are assassinating Swazis, they are South Africans, but they're hired by the king to go and kill Swazis who wants democracy. Evident to that, there's Tulane Maseko who was killed in his home. That Tulane Maseko that was killed, he was a human rights lawyer. To date, nothing has come up. So the danger that, to my mind, that doesn't give me a rest. We have EFF, because as ANC is losing power, the people who are a biggest threat for the ANC and for the Swazi monarchy is EFF, and MKP. What if these people will be taken at night? Because that king, we cannot trust him. He can take out those people. Angazama ukubakhipha laba bantu ebusuku. He's got all the resources, and they will do whatever, because nobody knows them. They will be given suit and given good cars, and they will be given passports in Swaziland. And people who are in danger are these two organizations in South Africa, the leaders of these two organizations. Because as ANC is losing power, there is danger that is going to cause a problem to Eswatini. So Eswatini can do anything, the king, to keep power. Anything he can do. And remember, he is a sponsor of ANC. That one I will say it with full mouth. There is nowhere whereby ANC, when people were killed in Swaziland, knowing very well, if they talk democracy in South Africa, they can't let somebody who is doing what he is doing in Swaziland like King Mswati. What are they scared of? That is where I get seriously confused. There is something along the lines here that doesn't make sense. The leader of EFF should be careful. The leader of MK should be careful. We are going to 2026, and this is happening. Why I bring up this? What happened to Chris Hani? It was not a lot of people, but the draft was drafted by a lot of people until they came to a conclusion that we will use this man to go and do this. And it happened. Because whatever happened, these people can be arrested, and at the end of the day, they will be released like Janus Swalus, who doesn't regret what he did in South Africa to South Africans killing. He's even taking interviews now in Poland. He's a Polish guy. He was an immigrant. I hope this does make sense to anybody who listens to this. Okay, before we go any further, how Janus Walus was released. Cyril is in power in South Africa. He has CR17 documents sealed. Zondo goes for an interview to be a CJ. He was interrogated, but the best judge was the lady who did very well in that interview. But the president decided to appoint Zondo. And Zondo is the one who released. Because here, they are changing hands. They are, do me a favor, do a favor. I'll keep your document, your CR17 document sealed. Put me in this position. They will kill. And again, Cyril known as Cyril. Now, Zondo is in power. Influence come in. Release Walus. And Walus is released on parole. Gone to Poland. Now he's taking interviews. Part of the interview, I will play it for you. You will listen to it. It doesn't make sense. SADC should be worried. And more especially, I am worried about these two leaders of these two organizations. EFF leader and MK leader. South Africa has not done anything for Swaziland. Knowing very well people of Swaziland have been coming, sending complaints in South Africa that, hey, this man is doing this to us. He even killed a lot of people. Cyril went down there to talk to him. He sent a delegation to go there. Nothing happened to date. So this is the picture that I'm bringing here. There is cruelty that is going on. And another thing, I don't believe that there was no negotiation of using the airspace for South Africa to pass through South Africa to Eswatini. Obviously, airspace. Somebody must have known what was going on here. There's something bigger that we are not told. But it will come out at some point. I don't believe there was money that was paid to Eswatini. It might be a confusion that is there. We know the King of Swaziland, but the most thing the King of Swaziland can do is to protect his seat. That is the only thing, because having that seat It's everything. So if ANC loses power, his seat is gone. There's no political party in South Africa that can allow, except for ANC, that can allow this kind of nonsense that is going on in Eswatini. There is something that is not making sense in this. Anybody who has a comment on this, drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But this video, I am not doing it for subscribers or whatever. I have sat down and tried to figure out what play is here. This is my opinion, allegedly, that I have brought it up here, and that is it. Drop your own opinion. What do you think? There's no, when we talk about Eswatini, when you bring such criminals in those jails of Eswatini, I've never been in that jail or whatever, but as far as I understand, I listened to the journalist that was on TV talking about the jails of Eswatini. I think the name of him is Zweli Martin Lamini. I think they said something like that. But there is a foul play. These leaders should be careful. There is a foul play that is going on. Mswati has all the resources. He can order, because all the powers rest in him. He can, or nobody can say anything. To understand, even these people coming to Eswatini was secretive, until it was everywhere on TikTok, on Facebook, and everywhere. And then everybody started to say, open his eyes, what is going on? Then it's when it came up to news and everywhere. There is a foul play that is being played here. Let us not be fooled. Let us open our eyes. There's more to the story than what we think. As I've been talking about all this, let's come up to our senses. We know in each and every country, if there is a criminal that is arrested in South Africa, there is a process that has to be followed, because South Africa is a sovereign country and Swaziland is another country different from South Africa. So, if I remember very well, on the AKA case, there are people who were arrested in Eswatini who were suspected to be criminals who assassinated or who killed AKA in South Africa. There is a process that had to be followed to extradite those people to South Africa. I just want to prove a point here that ANC is in bed with the King of Swaziland. It has happened that there is a guy who was suspected as commander of, I don't know what organization in Eswatini, and the guy was called Thabo Kunene, and another guy. They were arrested in South Africa. No extradition process was followed. The police of Eswatini came in and still or arrested that person in the soil of South Africa and took those two people to Eswatini. No extradition. Nothing was done like extradition. I'm trying to prove a point. And Swazis, or more especially the organizations of Swaziland, they wrote to whatever portfolio in South Africa. By then, it was ANC in power. Nothing has happened up to today. Those people are in jail in Swaziland, but they were arrested in South Africa, no extradition. But South Africa is following the laws. They respect the neighboring country. On the AKE issue, they apply for extradition for those people. They are still, I think it's still going on for them to be extradited to South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, if they have been or not, but somebody will correct me in the comment sections. So, with this, I'm trying, because we do research when we do these things. We don't just talk. So, as these people, they were taken to Swaziland, not through the border, through the fence, which is Thabo Kunene, and the complaint was lodged in South Africa. Today, those people have never brought back to Eswatini, and nothing has happened to the King of Swaziland. He does as he wishes, because the hand that feeds you, you cannot say anything. As he is pumping a lot of money to keep power to the ANC. Whenever elections comes in, it's where they dig a lot of money in from that man to keep power in Eswatini. But bad luck enough, they came the MKP with all the organizations, EFF and all. They took whatever. No matter EFF declined with 1% because of KZN. But it still affected ANC. And the only person who is dangerous is the King of Swaziland, because he is worried about his seat. Because if he loses, he can do anything. Those people who are in prison that have come from the US to Eswatini, he will make use of them, because he knows, God knows what is the mission, what is it that he is trying to mix up there. I am warning these two leaders the danger that is being posed by the Swazi king who wants to keep his seat. So everybody should be worried about what is going on. I will leave it there. Drop your comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bravo, bravo, bravo.